Hey, Living Truth family, it's Reverend Terry. And as I do each time we come together, I'd like to remind you that you are living truth, a unique, individualized expression of God. And it's when you live your life out of your knowledge of your oneness with God, which is all that there is, you are indeed living truth. Our scripture for today comes from Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11. It reads, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." There's a Baptist church down the street from where I live. I've never been in the church, and I've never met the pastor. But based on the titles the church posts on the marquee at the road, I imagine that he must deliver some really interesting sermons. The titles are provocative, and they draw you in. And the one that really drew my attention was one that said, "The difference between an extraordinary and an ordinary life is the extra in the beginning." And that's what I'd like to discuss with you today, that extra in the beginning. I think most of us desire at one time or another to live an extraordinary life. It's right that we should, because the extraordinary life we desires us. Most of us, however, may feel that we are not living that extraordinary life, not because we don't desire it, but because we believe we can't. We look at Oprah or LeBron James or Beyonce or whoever it is that comes to your mind when you think of extraordinary people, and we say to ourselves, they are talented, unique, and special. I can't possibly be like them. Well, both statements are correct. Each of the people I just named is talented, unique, and special. And no, we can't be like them. But for us to live extraordinary lives, we don't have to. We simply need to do what each of them has done, which is to discover our own unique God-given talents, believe in ourselves, and be willing to do whatever is required to express it. In short, we need to be who we are. This is the extra we need to put in at the beginning. You are an unrepeatable, unique, individualized expression of God. There is no one exactly like you. There never has been, there never will be. So why compare yourself to someone else, to who they are, to what they have, and to what they've done? If the yardstick you have been using to measure yourself is how you compare to others, someone will always come up short, and more often than not, that someone is going to be you. If this is the yardstick you've been using, break it in half, throw it away, and find a different one, because the "I compare myself to somebody else" yardstick, well, it's based on fear, inadequacy, lack, and limitation. Its metric communicates that there is limited opportunity, limited talent, and limited ways of expressing yourself. And that is a very ordinary way of seeing yourself and the world. And that's the epitome of a lack of faith in yourself and in God. Imagine using a different yardstick, one that measured you not against someone else, but against yourself, against your potential, against how you were living and expressing that potential, the potential that God placed in you and intended you to live. What if you started with that yardstick in everything that you did? How different would your life be then? Can you truly imagine it? Well, for starters, it would be extraordinary, because this is not what ordinary people do. We often think that to be extraordinary, we must be famous and recognized by others, or do something huge. While we may become famous and others may recognize us, or we may do something huge, these things should be the byproduct of what we do rather than the goal. Take a moment and think of those people who had an impact on your life. A family member, a teacher, a friend, someone who inspired you to be the best who you were. These were extraordinary people, not necessarily because they were famous or recognized, but because they gave of themselves and they drew the best out of you. I can still remember Mrs. Wheeler, my sixth grade teacher, and how she demanded and got excellence from each of us. Excellence that we were inspired to give. And then there was Mr. Morris, my ninth grade English teacher. He did the same thing in his own unique way. They weren't famous, but they were extraordinary. They were not afraid to be who they were, and they were not afraid to not only let me be me, but they wanted me to be the best me that I could be. Both had a positive impact on my life. The truth is that you and I each were born with our own unique geniuses. There's something special about each of us that makes us who we are. Over time, many of us have accepted mediocrity as a way of life. We can't see ourselves being extraordinary because we have conditioned ourselves to see ourselves as ordinary, whether it be through the influence of family or society, or our reaction to the experiences that we've lived. But we can change that at any time by doing something extra at the beginning of a goal, a task, a project, or even simply our day. We can take the time to connect with Spirit and our purpose for living and align our consciousness and actions accordingly. We can take time to release our fears and doubts and to affirm that we are divinely directed toward our highest and greatest good. We can take the time to consciously participate in the first creation, which is what we create in consciousness, setting an intention for the good that we desire, and visualizing ourselves being, doing, and having the good that we desire. We can take the time to create order by preparing ourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually for the tasks at hand. And we can ask for Spirit on guidance on how to proceed and be willing to follow that guidance as we go along to do the second creation, which is creating life in the physical. And so this is the something extra that we can do at the beginning, which puts us on the path to living an extraordinary life. Here's an affirmation you can use to remind yourself and to help you create an extraordinary life. And our affirmation is this: I live an extraordinary life by fully expressing who I am. Let's say that together 3 times. I live an extraordinary life by fully expressing who I am. I live an extraordinary life by fully expressing who I am. I live an extraordinary life by fully expressing who I am. Let us come together in consciousness, knowing there is one presence, one power, one mind, and that is God. God is everywhere present, equally present. And we know that God is right here where we are at this instant. We affirm our connection and our oneness with Spirit, knowing that it is guiding us to our highest and greatest good. We take the time out to put that extra in the beginning so that we can live the extraordinary lives that we were meant to live. We give thanks for our uniqueness. We give thanks for our talents. We bless ourselves and the people around us, knowing that it gives us the freedom for us to show up as we truly are. I accept this as the truth of myself, and I accept this as the truth of everyone within the range of my voice who hears this message. And I release this word to the universe, knowing that it shall not return unto me void, but it shall prosper and accomplish the thing we have sent it to do, and so it is. Living Truth family, if you like what you heard, give us a thumbs up. And better yet, consider subscribing to our channel, where you'll hear more uplifting and inspiring messages like this. Truth that you can use in your life each and every day. I love each and every one of you, and I'd like to leave you with a quote by Albert Einstein. It reads, "Everybody is a genius. But if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid." Living Truth family, have a wonderful day. Peace and blessings.